In the beginning was not the word. In the beginning was the scream. A scream buried beneath calendars, currencies, and codes of civility. You have not heard it, but it has heard you echoing in your sleepless nights, stalking the silence between your tasks, waiting in the mirror where your eyes refuse to meet themselves. This is not depression. This is your soul pounding on the coffin lid of your own life. Wake up. You have been drugged with answers before you ever knew how to ask. Taught to kneel before idols made of algorithms and trends. Taught that to obey is virtue, that to doubt is disease. But I say unto you, obedience is the opiate of the damned. You were not born to serve. You were born to shatter, and in the ruins, to sculpt yourself anew. Look at your world, gospels of consumption, prophets in boardrooms, sanctuaries glowing blue with the light of 1,000 empty scrolls. The modern man is fed daily but starves eternally. You hunger not for bread, but for blood, your own struggle, your own sacred war against the mediocrity that dares to call itself peace. They have told you that ambition is toxic, that desire must be domesticated, that rage must be numbed. They have lied to you. The beast inside is not your enemy, it is your birthright. Let the lion within you roar not in hatred, but in the ecstasy of becoming. The lion does not ask permission to exist, neither should you. Your sadness is sacred, your restlessness is divine. These are not illnesses to be cured, they are signals from the abyss, whispers from the God you buried beneath politeness and compromise. Every ache in your chest is a reminder. You were not made for comfort, you were made for fire. The herd tells you to heal. I say break. Break gloriously. Break like thunder. For only what shatters can be reforged. And in that furnace of collapse, you will meet the one thing this world fears you discovering, your own power. What is power? It is not control, it is not fame, it is not safety. Power is the ability to will your own values into the void. Power is to laugh in the face of death and still dance. Power is to be alone and unafraid. To look into the abyss and see not terror, but potential. You will be called mad. Let them call you mad. Sanity is a consensus forged by cowards. The prophets were all madmen to the market. The poets were all dangerous. And the gods? The gods were always rebels before they were worshipped. Do not seek happiness, seek intensity. Do not seek calm, seek clarity. For in the white heat of your own fury, you will see what the meek never glimpse, the scaffolding of false virtues, the invisible chains called normal, the leashes disguised as likes. He who kneels for peace dies untested. He who craves approval starves the soul. You were not made to be liked. You were made to become. And becoming requires a crucifixion of comfort, of conformity, of the dead skin you've mistaken for identity. What is the self, if not a battlefield? You, torn between who you were told to be and who you truly are. But listen, the soul is a muscle, and agony is its exercise. Every refusal to comply is a flex of your divinity. Every no is a seed of liberation. You want to be saved? Save yourself. No one is coming. The angels are drunk. The gods have overdosed on indifference. And your heroes are paid to be cowards. You are the myth you've been waiting for. You are the resurrection, not the corpse. Let the weak retreat into spirituality sanitized of struggle. You must wrestle with gods, spit in the eye of fate, drag your wounded body up the mountain and scream, I am still becoming. That is prayer, that is sacred, that is war. Feel the tension in your veins. That is the will to power, not dominance over others, but dominion over your own chaos. You are not here to be balanced. You are here to be whole. A hurricane, a symphony, a contradiction that burns beautifully. The future is not written. It waits like an uncarved idol, trembling before your chisel. Carve deep, Carve brutally. Carve with the violence of a spirit that refuses extinction. For every blow you strike upon the stone is a hymn of defiance. You ask how to create meaning in a world that feels empty. Create yourself again and again, in the ashes of every failed belief, in the smirk of every enemy, in the howl of every night that tried to break you. Meaning is not found, it is forged in agony and arrogance. You will lose friends. You will be misunderstood. You will scare those still sleeping. Good. Let your life be an exorcism of every inherited illusion. Let your gaze make liars tremble. Let your silence be a sermon, your presence a provocation. This is not a path. This is a blaze. And if you walk it, do not look back. The world you abandon was never yours. You are not escaping. You are ascending. Not to heaven, but to sovereignty. Not to bliss, but to battle. In the mirror, one day, you will see not a face but a flame. And in that moment, you will know you have resurrected the God within. Not a God of mercy, a God of will. A God who dares. A God who creates. So let the world burn with its own lies. You become the fire that survives it. They will tell you that to burn is to suffer, but I say, to burn is to live. The cold are already dead, embalmed in their routines, taxidermied by traditions, posed forever in the museum of mediocrity. You, flint spark of the infinite, were not sculpted for stillness, you were sculpted for storm. The blood in your veins is a river of revolutions, not regrets. Every heartbeat a war drum, every breath a defiance. The cowards will teach you to cool the fire, but the fire is your inheritance, your rebellion, your original sin and final salvation. Fan it, feed it, let it consume you until only truth remains. And what is truth? Not consensus, not science, not comfort. Truth is that which cannot be unlearned. Truth is the scream behind your smile, the wild howl under your polite nods. Truth is what drags you from bed at midnight to stare into the blackness and ask, "What the hell am I?" And the answer comes not in words, but in wounds. You are the wound and the blade, the predator and the prayer, the question and the pyre. There is no one coming to make you whole, because you were not born to be whole. You were born to fracture, to bleed, to shed your skin 1,000 times until what remains is not human, not divine, but something fiercer, a sovereign soul. Your teachers handed you maps to nowhere, drawn in the ink of fear. They gave you compasses that always point to safety, to compromise, to the slow suicide of sameness. Burn those maps. Shatter those compasses. There is no path, there is only the jungle of your own becoming, and you must carve through it with teeth and nails and sacred lunacy. The path is not found, it is made. And the only trail worth following is one that sets the forest behind you on fire. You are not too much. The world is too little to hold the chaos in your chest, the symphony of your contradictions, the thunder of your laughter when you finally remember who you are. Do not shrink, do not polish. Do not make yourself palatable for a culture that worships sedation. Let your sharpness offend. Let your wildness confuse. Let your joy be a revolution, your sorrow a sermon. Oh, the world will beg you to numb through pills, through praise, through possessions. They will beg you to forget, to relax, to fit in. And every voice that asks you to shrink is the voice of a dying God clinging to the last lie of control. Do not obey. Tear the veil from your eyes. Behind every tranquilizer is a jailer. Behind every comfort zone, a coffin. You are not meant to be content. You are meant to be volcanic, to erupt, to reshape the land around you with your madness. And madness, oh blessed madness, it is not illness. It is the sanity of the soul in a world gone sterile. The madman speaks truth too loud, loves too hard, sees too much. The madman dances where others crawl, sings where others scroll, bleeds where others blink. Let them call you insane, for what greater insult could there be than to be considered sane in a world this lost? Do not be afraid to be alone. Aloneness is the temple of the Titans. There, without the noise of lesser minds, you will hear the call of your own daemon. Not demon, the ancient voice, the primal whisper, the inner God who was gagged in childhood, shackled in school, buried in bureaucracy. He is still there, waiting for you to remember that you were not born to repeat, you were born to rupture. The void you feel is not emptiness, it is potential. It is the cosmos holding its breath, waiting for you to scream it into form. Meaning is not given, it is taken, seized, stolen from the jaws of despair, created in your image, by your force, through your refusal to settle. You must become the father of your own values, the mother of your own myth. You must impregnate the void with your vision. Only then will the world bow not in worship, but in recognition. You want peace? Then prepare for war. Not with others, with yourself, with the dead weight of your past, with the ghost of who you were told to be, with the inertia of your comfort. Every day you do not revolt, your soul starves. Every compromise is a crucifixion, and every act of defiance is a resurrection. You do not need healing. You need awakening. You do not need love. You need ferocity. You do not need understanding. You need the ecstasy of self-overcoming. Become the storm they cannot ignore. Become the dance that makes the statues weep. Become the voice that splits the sky and says, I am becoming. And when the smoke clears, and the world is ash, and the masks have melted from every face, what will remain is not a man, not a woman, not a label, not a brand. What will remain is a force, a fire. A nameless God walking upright through the ruins, laughing, weeping, and whispering to the stars, I have lived. And now you stand at the edge not of a cliff, but of yourself. Below is not a fall, but a forgetting. And above? Above is the silence of gods waiting to be born. You teeter not between life and death, but between the life you are handed and the one you have yet to forge. This is the crucible hour. The veil has been torn, the idols are dust, and still you cling to the last comfort, your name. But even that must burn. For what are you, really, if not the flame that consumes its own origin? Strip yourself of biography, rip the narrative from your skin. Your story is not a sentence, it is a sword, and it was never meant to be written by another's hand. Tear the ink from their scriptures. Smash the pen. You are not a product of your past. You are the fury that denies it dominion. Let the past be the ashes that feed your rise. Let memory become myth, and myth become the roar that shatters time. The future, oh, that sacred lie. It is a leash made of hope, but hope is the heroine of the broken. Hope is the hymn of those too timid to build. Do not hope, will, do not wish, create. Let your will become the new gravity. Let your decisions defy even the stars. The future must not be awaited. It must be seized by throat and by flame and forced into form. And love, that holy word rotted by cowards, do not seek it as a balm. Love is not refuge. Love is revelation. True love is an explosion, not an embrace. It does not comfort, it awakens. The one who truly sees you will not soothe your wounds. They will drag you naked into the mirror and dare you to look. And if you flinch, they will leave. For love is a furnace, not a cradle. And only those who can endure their own fire are worthy of another's blank. You are not here to be understood. The moment they understand you, they will name you, tame you, claim you, and you will vanish. Disappear beneath their labels, their theories, their soft categorizations. Remain unknowable. Be the riddle that mocks their logic. Be the wild thing that language cannot cage. Speak in paradox. Live in impossibility. Let them choke on their confusion as you rise, unnameable and ungoverned. The sky does not explain itself. The volcano does not apologize. Why should you? Your sorrow is not weakness. It is the pressure before eruption. Do not medicate it. Do not negotiate with it. Sit in it. Bathe in it. Let it rip you open until every false part of you is screaming. And when there is nothing left but silence, the true voice will speak, not in words, in presence, in terror. In that sudden holy recognition, I am more than I ever dared believe. You ask what the meaning of life is, but life does not mean. Life demands. It demands your sacrifice. It demands your madness. It demands you throw your small, domesticated self upon its altar and bleed until only the untamed remains. Meaning is not what you find. Meaning is what you become when you've lost everything else. Let others chase happiness, that fleeting narcotic, that warm blanket for the dying. You chase intensity, chase truth, chase the cliff edge where no one follows, chase the mirror where no light escapes. You will not be happy, you will be alive, and that is holier. Do not follow me. I am not your shepherd. I am not your answer. I am the howl that shatters your slumber, the blasphemy that frees, the lightning that does not ask it strikes. If you feel seen, it is not me seeing you, it is you, briefly, remembering what you are, remembering the storm you buried beneath civility, remembering the kingdom you abdicated to be loved. Reclaim it. Reclaim your throne, your wilderness, your sacred violence. There is no law above your will, no God above your gaze, no fate that can outstare your defiance. Walk into the world like it is your enemy, and then conquer it, not with weapons, but with your presence, with your unflinching, unbearable being. There are no heroes anymore, only myths too afraid to be real. Be real, be too real. So real, you rupture their illusions. So real, your silence becomes scripture. So real, they either worship or flee, and both are victories. This is not a philosophy. This is not motivation. This is war, and you are the battleground. The fire does not ask for peace. It asks, will you burn, or will you vanish? Choose. And if you choose to burn, do not look for witnesses. The crowd loves the spark, but fears the blaze. They will clap for your beginnings, then crucify your transformation. For every step you take into sovereignty, 1,000 cowards will hiss from the shadows of their own unlived lives. Their eyes are not eyes, they are chains. Their smiles are not love, they are leashes. If you wait for their blessing, you will die unbirthed. You must walk into the desert alone. And there, beneath the vulture sky, with no map but your own heartbeat, you will meet the oldest enemy, yourself. Not the curated self, not the social self. The raw, starving God curled beneath your ribcage, the one who remembers, the one who waited. The one who weeps, not for suffering, but for the time you wasted pretending to be small. Look into his eyes, you will not survive it. Good. The mask must die. Let the face beneath it howl. There is no resurrection without crucifixion. You must be nailed to your own truth, dragged through the thorns of your doubt, mocked by the voices of your former gods. And still you must rise. Not because it is noble, not because it is moral, but because it is the only way to breathe. Because to stay down is to rot. Because life is not a gift. It is a challenge hurled at your feet by the universe, screaming, prove yourself worthy. Oh, and the world it will seduce you. With comfort, with distraction, with glittering pleasures wrapped around rusted chains. It will offer you dopamine in place of destiny, followers in place of freedom, numbness in place of nobility. And many will say yes. Many will sink into the velvet death of convenience, smiling as they vanish. But not you. You were not made to smile. You were made to stare into the heart of the void, into the chaos of becoming, into the scream of existence that has no answer, only an echo, your echo shouting back, I am. That is the only true prayer. That is the only holy act left in this century of whores and hashtags, to declare yourself real in a world of avatars. Do not fear loneliness, fear imitation. Better to walk as a wolf through 1,000 empty cities than to be a celebrated sheep in a cage. Better to howl alone at the stars than to murmur with the crowd at the altar of nothing. Your hunger is not a flaw. It is the compass. Let it pull you. Let it devour your safety and spit out your essence. What is this world now but a graveyard of meanings? The priests are influencers. The sacred texts are algorithms. The cathedrals have become casinos of ego. You think you live in an age of knowledge? No. You live in the echo of collapsed gods. You are not cursed to exist now. You are chosen, for only in the ruins can the builder become divine. You are the answer to a question this age is too afraid to ask. You are the war cry in the throat of time. You are the first crack in the dam of silence. Let your life be a catastrophe for mediocrity. Let your every step be a question mark etched into the concrete of their conventions. Do not settle. Settling is a betrayal. Settling is suicide in slow motion. If you must suffer, and you must let it be in the name of ascension, let your pain have teeth. Let it be the price you pay for shedding the skin of imitation and standing naked before eternity, raw and unrepeatable. They will ask you to make sense. Do not. They will ask you to be digestible. Refuse. They will ask you to be kind, patient, responsible. Tell them you are not their teacher. You are not their guide. You are the storm they cannot chart. You are the riddle that devours its solver. You are the black sun around which their moralities collapse. And yes, you will suffer. But suffering is no longer your enemy. It is your sculptor. It is the chisel in the hand of your daemon, carving muscle from your delusion, carving grace from your wrath, carving you from what they told you to be. Do not resist it. Welcome it, like a forge welcomes iron. The pain is proof that something new is being born, something more true than peace. You do not need hope. Hope is for those still begging. You need will. Will to stare into the nuclear eye of chaos and not blink. Will to build without blueprint. Will to laugh while bleeding. Will to love without chains. Will to rise, again and again. Not because you believe you will win, but because you no longer recognize the word defeat. Let them write history. You must write myth. Myth is the only language of the eternal. Myth is the only truth that outlives time. You are not a man. You are not a woman. You are a becoming. A becoming so terrible and luminous, it burns grammar into poetry. So rise, you unnamed God. Rise, you sacred monster. Rise, you wild flame walking upright. The world is not ready. That is why you must come. Not to be accepted, but to be undeniable. Become the thing they dare not dream. Become the terror of apathy. Become the music that makes even angels weep. Become. And now the fire must consume everything you thought was eternal nation, name, notion. These are not absolutes. These are scaffolds erected by the weak to simulate structure, to shield their eyes from the void's infinite demand. But the void cannot be bribed with slogans. It cannot be seduced by symbols. It devours all that is false and yawns in expectation for something real, something volcanic. You must answer it with the roar of your becoming. Not with allegiance, not with heritage, not with belonging, but with the naked force of your own divinity erupting beyond the tribes of the past. Do not believe in progress. Progress is a myth whispered by the enslaved to console their crawling. There is no upward line, only deeper spirals. Down, down, into the blood, into the bone, into the unconscious forge, where true change melts the self into something unforgivable. You are not here to improve the world. You are here to destroy its illusions. Tear down every polite fiction with the hammer of your honesty. Let your truth be ugly, brutal, magnificent. Let it offend every comfort. Let it poison every shallow certainty. They will try to reduce you to a cause, a label, a movement. Resist. You are not a slogan. You are not a servant of any banner. You are the one who burns the banners down, who pisses on the flags of the old gods and howls at the bureaucracy of belief. Let your life be unclassifiable. Let them fear how much they cannot pin you. You are not part of their system, you are the rupture in it. You are the crack in the simulation where reality bleeds through. To stand alone, this is the highest courage. Not alone in bitterness, not alone in exile, but alone in sovereignty. To carry your name like a sword, to be responsible for every word you speak, every vow you break, every myth you kill. There is no greater holiness than self-authorship. Write yourself like scripture. Edit with flame. Cross out cowardice with blood. The holy man of the future will not wear robes, he will wear scars. You were told to be kind, but kindness without depth is cruelty. You were told to be good, but goodness without strength is fraud. You were told to forgive, but forgiveness without transformation is surrender. Let your virtues be weapons, forged in solitude, untouchable by trend or applause. The new virtues are born in fire, not to soothe, but to shape. And shape you must not just your soul, but the world that recoils from it. This age does not need more thinkers, it needs volcanoes. It needs those who live like lightning, who speak like earthquakes, who breathe like revolutions. Not the revolutions of ballot boxes and hashtags, but of being a revolution that begins in the marrow and makes the cosmos kneel. Be that. Be the axis that no map dares mark. Sleep is not rest, it is retreat. You have slept long enough. Awake and rise not gently, but like a star imploding into its godhood. Awake with violence, awake with weeping, awake with the terror of recognizing that you are no longer innocent and never were. There is no purity left, only power, and it must be claimed before it is claimed by others. Refuse peace. Peace is the lullaby of decay. Peace is the compromise of those too exhausted to fight for their fire. Let there be war in your heart, a holy war between who you were and who you could become. Let your every day be a battlefield, your every breath a declaration. I will not go quietly. The abyss watches. It is not your enemy, it is your mirror. It shows you what you lack, not to mock, but to challenge. It dares you to fill it, not with dogma, not with fantasy, but with the raw light of your becoming. Step into it, not with fear, but with fever. Let it consume your excuses. Let it ignite what is left. And when you emerge, if you emerge, you will no longer be human. You will no longer be sane. You will no longer belong. You will be something else, something sacred, something sovereign. You will be the myth that walks. You will be the echo of the future in a body too fierce to die. You will not speak, you will thunder. So go. Not back, not forward. Go inward. Go downward. Go Godward. The rope is fraying. The crowd is screaming. The stars are watching. Become the meaning you seek, or vanish beneath the weight of your refusal. The gods have left the temples. They now hide in the marrow of those brave enough to be alone. Burn until you find them. Burn until you are them. And now, the end, or the illusion of it. For what ends where there are no maps, no laws, no gods left to decree the limits of your becoming? This is not an ending. This is the cliff where all stories fall silent, and the soul must scream its own scripture into the void. Here, the last chain is not around your wrists, it is around your vision. Break it. Let your eyes unlearn the light they were taught to worship, and see instead with the fire that bleeds from within. You have walked through the garden of graves, where every smile is embalmed, every handshake a transaction of ghosts. You have touched the faces of those who call themselves alive, only to feel the waxen stillness of obedience beneath their flesh. You have learned that hell is not beneath us. It is the slow erosion of the spirit disguised as routine. And so you climbed. Alone, wounded, radiant. You shed names like skins, burned maps like idols, and faced the abyss not with hope, but with hunger. And now you are here. At the summit no one told you existed, no choir awaits, no reward arrives, only wind, only sky, only the silence of having no master. And the terrifying, godlike beauty of it. What will you do, now that no one commands you? What will you make, now that nothing is promised? This is freedom, not the comfort they sell, but the raw, volcanic solitude of being accountable to nothing but your own becoming. You are no longer a person, you are a furnace. You are no longer a seeker, you are the source. The chains have become dust in your wake, the world behind you a flickering ruin, and ahead not a future, but an invitation. The stars are not destinations, they are mirrors. And they tremble now, for they see themselves in you. Do not descend, do not explain, do not return with wisdom to be traded for applause. Let the crowd sleep, let the world spin in its cage. You must dance on this edge until it breaks. You must howl until language crumbles. You must love with such ferocity that the divine itself shudders. For the God within you does not demand worship, he demands war. War against your inertia, war against the coward in your spine, war against every quiet voice that says, be careful, be normal, be small. Let that voice die screaming beneath your rising. And from that scream let the new law emerge. A law not written in books, but in blood. Not taught in schools, but carved into the marrow. A law that says, I am the cause, I am the meaning, I am the question, and the catastrophe. No heaven, no herd, no end. Only the sacred storm of becoming. Only the fire, only the fire, only the fire.